This is Hannibal here from thehannibaltv.com with a daily wrestling news update. Jesse Ventura, WWE Hall of Famer, who recently appeared at a WWE event in Minnesota, a Raw where he met with Triple H and exchanged some kind words with Triple H, has surprisingly, even though he's notoriously always backed third-party candidates and even wrote a book called Democrips and Bloodlikins, is endorsing Kamala Harris, calling Donald Trump a rich white boy draft dodger, because he's alleging that Donald Trump dodged the Vietnam War draft. I don't know if that's true or not, but that was a horrible, useless war in the end, where a lot of people died and it accomplished absolutely nothing. And it's funny that Jesse, I don't know, I watch all of Jesse Ventura's interviews, and he seems to actually be losing it quite a bit in his old age. He rambles on, and I don't know. Let's face the facts. The reason he won the Minnesota governorship was because wrestling was at an all-time high in popularity at that point, and he had the support of wrestling fans in Minnesota, which was a heavy wrestling-oriented state all along. But yeah, I'm just shocked that for someone that's always been against the two-party system, him changing his tune there. And yeah, if you could get out of the draft to avoid getting killed in a useless war that accomplished nothing, I wouldn't blame him. But who knows if that's true or not? That's just what Jesse Ventura is saying. In other news, Roman Reigns helped boost SmackDown's rating. It was up 19% last night in the overnight viewerships. 0.71 rating, 2.44 million views, up from 2.179 million views last week. Looked like it was a hot crowd. I actually watched Roman Reigns' part, and the intensity was good. It was great. I have no negative critique on Roman Reigns' SmackDown appearance, but what I will say is it seems like AEW always uses excuses on why their ratings are low. Like last Friday, I think they got a 0.07 rating for Rampage. They've made no effort to make their shows better, at least for Rampage and Collision. And Rampage and Collision just keep getting lower and lower ratings and attendance, it seems. So I think this is proof that if you put on a good show that fans want to see, doesn't matter if the Olympics are on or not, fans are still going to tune in. But it seems like a lot of the times, and I got nothing against AEW other than it seems like they just flat out have given up on Rampage and Collision, trying to make those shows good. Roman Reigns is also going to be on SmackDown next week, as well as the September 13th SmackDown in Seattle, which will be SmackDown's return to the USA Network, which we don't get the USA Network here in Canada. I don't know when it starts on Netflix, but I will get net. I don't think I'm ever going to watch these regular TV shows because I have a hard enough time watching the highlights, but I will watch some of the pay-per-views once they join on Netflix. Apparently, for AEW's annual event at Arthur Ashe Stadium in New York, which is next month, they only have 3,500 tickets pre-sold right now, which is not good for a stadium show. Apparently, the Young Bucks, why they haven't been on TV much lately, they have a limited dates deal for huge money. It's rumored to be around $6 million a year. But it's not that they're injured or anything. They just have limited dates. They don't have to work that much. Good for them. Apparently, Pentagon and Phoenix are almost 100% going to WWE. There's some talk that Conan could be their manager in WWE. Ricochet is 100% going to AEW. Apparently, he could debut there anytime, according to Dave Meltzer. Looks like Ricky Starks is highly likely going to WWE. Why AEW does this is beyond me. They just don't use their people before they switch. So they'd rather have Ricky Starks under contract doing nothing than jobbing him out before WWE. If I was a booker, I would be putting all my guys over this guy before he leaves. But no, we're just not going to use him, and then he's going to debut on WWE. At least have the footage of him getting beat by your guy, so if he does get over in WWE, you can replay that footage. I mean, that's just my opinion on it. Apparently, WWE is disappointed that Jade Cargill has not gotten over as big as they'd wanted her to, but she has been a total disappointment at this stage. Marcel Russell, who is part of the WWE's Next in Line program where they sponsor athletes that will possibly eventually end up wrestling for WWE, won a gold medal in the women's 100-meter hurdles earlier today at the Paris Olympics. A couple comments about Jesse Ventura. He loves his country. He's just, I don't know. The thing about Jesse Ventura is he was always against the two-party system. Now he seems to be changing his mind. Apparently, he doesn't have the place in the Baja anymore, according to Ken Patera, who told some hilarious stories about Jesse Ventura. Kamala for the 2025 Hall of Fame. I agree. I was friends with Kamala, and I wrestled Kamala. Someone's making fun of something. To be honest, I don't think it matters who Jesse Ventura endorses at this point. I'll be perfectly honest about it. But I will say for a fact that, there is one thing I will mention for the people that talk about how that claim that WWE is in such a boom. They are making more money than ever. I'll give them that. But in the Attitude Era, wrestling was so popular that WWE was popular, AEW or WCW was popular. If you went to an independent show, the independent shows would be packed. You'd see people everywhere with shirts. Jesse Ventura was winning elections. A lot of it had to do with wrestling, whether he wants to admit it or not. He was famous from wrestling. Now AEW, as we're seeing, is not WWE is doing pretty good, but there's very few house shows. They're making more money than ever. AEW is not doing great for crowds. Independents, there's no buzz on the independent scene these days. Independents, sadly, with how much wrestlers are getting paid now, it's very hard to get good quality wrestlers on the independents because they're used to making so much money, and there just isn't that much money at the gates at independent shows. So overall, although WWE is making more money than ever, I wouldn't compare it to the Attitude Era at all, because you're not hearing any buzz about the independent scene. And AEW is definitely on a downswing. So I'm going to say that's the difference. Attitude Era, you had both companies booming. Even ECW was buzzing. And I remember going to independent shows at that time. They were packed. And as we said, it was in popular culture. Ventura is a sellout, somebody is saying. No comment on that. But the one thing I will say, and I don't know how much Ventura had to do with this, at one point in time, I had a deal for an interview with Ventura. Then I announced the deal, and the person who was alleging to represent Ventura changed the deal, which I thought was pretty low. Anyways, guys, give this video a thumbs up, and I will chat with you later. Next time I interview Ken Patera, which will be soon, I'm gonna ask Ken Patera about this. But he told a great story about Jesse Ventura and the infamous Quaalude incident in my last interview with him that was pretty funny and actually